Behavioral Neuroscience, Chapter 18, Segment 1. Attention is a state or condition of selective awareness or perceptual receptivity by which specific stimuli are selected for enhanced processing. Arousal is the global, non-selective level of alertness of an individual. Shifting attention overtly involves directing our senses and our attention towards the same target. Shifting our attention covertly means keeping our senses focused on one target and our attention on another. The cocktail party effect is the selective enhancement of attention in order to filter out distractors, such as while listening to one person talking to a midst of a noisy party. Dichotic presentation is the simultaneous delivery of different stimuli to the right and the left ears. Shadowing is a task in which the participant is asked to focus attention on one ear or the other while stimuli are being presented separately to both ears. People who shadow one ear could report very little stimuli being received in the other ear, aside from characteristics such as the gender of the speaker. Advanced warning of being quizzed usually does not increase the likelihood of hearing information from the unshadowed ear. Only about a third of people report hearing their own names. Shadowing can also be done with visual stimuli. Inattentional blindness is the failure to perceive non-attended stimuli that seem so obvious as to be impossible to miss. The divided attention task is a task in which the participant is asked to simultaneously focus attention on two or more stimuli. These tasks confirm that attention is a limited resource. Attentional spotlight is the shifting of our limited selective attention around the environment to highlight stimuli for enhanced processing. The attentional bottleneck is a filter that results from the limits intrinsic to our attentional processes, with the result that only the most important stimuli are selected for spatial processing. An early selection model is a model of attention in which the attentional bottleneck filters out stimuli before even preliminary perceptual analysis has occurred. A late selection model is a model of attention in which the attentional bottleneck filters out stimuli only after substantial analysis has occurred. Perceptual load is the immediate processing challenge presented by a stimulus. If we view attention as a limited resource, we can only focus on one complex task at a time, or several simple ones at a time. This indicates that attention strikes a balance between early and late selection. A sustained attention task is a task in which a single stimulus source or location must be held in the attentional spotlight for a protracted period. Stimulus cueing is a testing technique in which a cue to the stimulus location is provided before the stimulus itself. Voluntary attention is the voluntary direction of attention toward specific aspects of the environment in accordance with our interests and goals. Symbolic cueing task is an attention task in which a symbol indicates to the participant where to voluntarily direct attention in order to detect a stimulus. Participants fixate on a central point where an arrow flashes to cue where the stimulus will appear. Most of the time it is a valid cue, but sometimes it is an invalid cue, meaning the arrow gives false information about where the stimulus will be. A neutral cue does not give any information about where the stimulus will be. Reaction time is significantly faster for validly cued trials. In tests of simple reaction time, participants make a single response in response to experimental stimuli. Tests of choice reaction time involve a person making a choice between right and wrong or same and different. Brain activity proceeds from the primary visual cortex through a ventral visual object identification pathway to the prefrontal cortex, and then through premotor and primary motor cortex down to the spinal motor neurons and out to the finger muscles. Reflexive attention is the involuntary reorienting of attention toward the location of an unexpected object or event. It is considered a bottom-up process. A peripheral spatial cueing task is an attention task where a visual stimulus is preceded by a simple sensory stimulus, like a flash, that reflexively captures attention. Inhibition of return is the phenomenon in which detection of stimuli at the former location of the cue is impaired for latencies of 200 milliseconds or more. This probably evolved to prevent settling on unimportant stimuli for more than an instant. A sudden sound coming from a particular location can improve the visual processing of a stimulus that appears there, especially if the cue is associated with reward.